Okay, I wanted to make a little video recapping a project I've been working on. So I'm taking this course on Udemy to learn how to make a robot arm, and it's been an experience. It's definitely has not been easy. There's been a lot of roadblocks, and that's been really frustrating. It's taking a lot more time than I thought. But I'm at a point where I'd really like to show what I've kind of learned and what I've been working on. So this should be hopefully a pretty short video. Okay, so this is the showcase here. Right now I'm using RViz to visualize a robot, and I've implemented a control system in order to allow for the movement of this robot arm. So as you can see, I can move the arm here and give it a destination point, and then it'll move the arm to where it goes. So here's another one. It's pretty cool. And again, this is taking so much time. And honestly, this is a little hard for me because one of the things I struggle with is like finishing projects, especially when it gets hard and like there's roadblocks. If it's not super easy and just straightforward, then sometimes I tend to quit. And that's something I'm trying to get better at. So anyway, breakdown of the project real quick. I just wanted to go into the project folder, what I've learned so far. Basically, I am modeling the robot through something called a URDF. And this is the file that contains all the meshes, the joints, the geometries, and the like the collisions for the robot. So all the parts that you see in Gazebo, like let's say the different like the base plate, the arms and stuff, all of these models are stored in an STL file, and they're placed in this URDF file. It's kind of like HTML. Like this is just the base plate, right? The base plate has a mass. It gives it a location in space, tells it which mesh to use, and this is the collision. Cool. So now we have a URDF file, and that kind of just is able to display the robot itself. And then after that, we implemented a controller. So in robotics, what I've learned is that you have an input, so say a destination of where you want this robot to go. So this robot has motors and actuators. And for instance, if I want to move the robot here, that's considered an input. That is the desired goal where I want the robot to end up. Now, how it works is every tick, it's gonna run through a loop. And in that loop, it's gonna check, it's gonna say, okay, how far away from this goal am I? And then based on the distance from the goal, it determines how much more it needs to move. So when I click plan and execute, it's gonna loop through and slowly change the position of the arm to match the desired goal, if that makes sense. So basically, right, if I wanna move it here, it's gonna move slowly more and more until the error between this distance or this starting point and its end point gets closer and closer until eventually, right, it moves to the position and the error is 0. So that's what I learned about controllers. We implemented a controller manager here. Where is the controller manager? It's in the configuration. This is the controller manager. I'm still figuring out how to use YAML files and what that's all about. But I understand that the controller manager kind of houses all the controllers you're going to use. So for the arms, I'm going to use an arm controller, and it's going to be different than the grippers because the grippers have, the gripper can only go maybe 90 degrees in 2 directions, but the arm controllers, they can go 180 degrees, for example. So we need different types of controllers for each motor. They're not all the same, which is really interesting. I just learned that. So, and then I think one thing in this course is big on launch files. Like there's a launch file for the controller, there's a launch file for Gazebo, for RViz, for the Move It, which is also we learned about. Like Move It is a library that makes complex movements between, does like these calculations really well. That's what I understand so far. That's why it's applicable. But yeah, launch files are big. Basically like this idea of publishers and subscribers. We publish for instance, we publish the URDF file of our robot, and eventually like Gazebo, RViz, the software that is allowing to visualize will subscribe to this publisher and be able to take data from the what is being published. So for instance, like this publishes a robot, so this allows us to see it. Or I guess this is the description itself. This is the robot itself. This is the publisher. It's called a node. The node is what publishes the robot to this kind of stream where eventually, what is this in the controller? Our controller manager is going to pick up from this robot, say publisher, and it is going to, right here, does that right here, and it implements the controllers for the robot. So now it has this robot, and now it's implementing all the control systems from the controller manager, and these are the 3 different kind of controllers we have. Like I mentioned, we have a gripper controller, an arm controller, and a joint state broadcaster controller. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, this is just kind of what I have to show for it. I think the next steps right now is, now that I have Move It 2 configured and it's working how I want it to, I'm going to keep going and hopefully build the robot within the next week or two. That's the goal. But yeah, again, lessons learned is that, projects are not always hard, and they take a lot of time behind the scenes. And I'm just finding more joy in the hard, difficult times and the mud and the grit. It's been really fulfilling. So anyway, signing out. See ya.